So my first experience was in my parents' house when I was in elementary. There is in front of my bedroom door, what was my bedroom, there is a frame on the wall. And when the door is semi-closed and you're laying in bed and you look out of the corner of your eye, you look at the door. When it's nighttime, the shadow casted against the wall across the hallway from my bedroom door, when it blends in with the frame, it looks like a person standing in front of my bedroom. But you can clearly see that it's a frame, and then it's just a shadow cast. It just kind of looks like a person. But then one night, I saw a scary movie, and a lot of people say that when you are into scary things, or when you watch scary things, or when you read stuff that is, dark in nature, you kind of invoke that kind of energy. You kind of bring it forward. So, I might have brought this upon myself, but oh well. So,
it also makes your imagination go wild.
But this was definitely not my imagination. Basically, that's the setup. So, to make the long story short, not to go into too much boring detail, I'm laying in bed. And I roll over to my right side and I look over to the wall and I see the picture frame and the shadow casted across the wall, touching the picture frame so it looks like a person. So I close my eyes. After a little while, I feel like this weird cold that kind of brushes over the left side of my face and my body. Mind you, I'm covered and I have a thick comforter. So I wake up wondering if someone's like breathing on me. No one's there. Then I look towards the door, and at this point I'm kind of groggy, but I look towards the door and I see what looks like someone standing right outside my bedroom door looking in. The first thought in my head was it's probably the frame, but then I rub my eyes to clear my vision and I'm clearly seeing that this is a solid mass, that I don't see the frame behind this shadowy mass. It's just standing there looking into. Now, mind you, the bedroom door is not completely wide open. It's kind of cracked and you see out into the hallway through the door. So I get scared and I close my eyes. I wait a little while and then it goes away. So then I obviously get up and I have to go to the bathroom. Now, the next night, I decide to close my bedroom door. Here's where it gets messed up. Because at around 2:40, I wake up and for some strange reason, my bedroom door is open. And I now see that same shadowy figure standing outside my bedroom door, looking in. And I stare right at it. I don't just look at it from the corner of my eye. I actually turn my head and I look right at it. And it just stays there. And then I go to bed. I close my eyes and it goes away. The next night, I decide to do the same thing, but I locked the door. I figured it's probably my mom or my dad just walk past my bedroom. They open the door to see me, make sure everything is okay, and then they leave with the door semi-open. So I lock it. I wake up at 3 and the door is open and it's right there. So at this point, I woke up because I had to use a bathroom. So I stare right at it and I get out of bed.
Oh, sorry, let me interrupt you really quick. I find it very interesting that you woke up at 3 because 3 is usually associated with the witching hour. And for those who don't know what that means is between 3 in the morning and 3:31 in the morning, as many of you have probably seen in a lot of like movies. It's known as the witching hour, which is when there's like a large pocket of substantial energy, whether it's magnetic or electromagnetic energy, that allows supernatural entities to become more active.
But there's also a religious aspect to it. In the Bible, 3 is the time of death of Jesus Christ and the time in which he resurrected. It has a significant meaning in the Bible as well. Now, I'm not saying that this is some biblical situation I'm going through. It just happened to be at 3 o'clock that I woke up. So I wake up and I look at the shadow figure, and long story short, I walk towards the door, keeping my eye on him. and the solid mask goes from solid to see-through, and then now it just turns into a shadow casted against the wall. And I opened the door, and I had to go to the bathroom to pee. And I never figured out exactly how on earth that the door being locked was opened again.
I find it interesting how your encounter with a shadow person involved poltergeist activity where it was opening the door and things like that. I find that very interesting because as far as I am aware, that is very rare. I've never heard of a shadow person and poltergeist activity being connected to each other. Because you're the first person I've ever heard that story.
I don't really tell that story to a lot of people because it's not really that interesting. It just happened to be related to our topic today. So I figured now is the time to talk about that little experience I had.
It's interesting though, because anytime you talk about shadow people, if you keep going, you start to get like shivers down your spine, right? Like, I don't know, it's something about talking about shadow people that really builds up the fear in you.
And you know what's crazy is because this kind of topic invokes a lot of emotions. I'm pretty sure there's someone out there listening to this podcast that when they're done, they're probably listening to the video, laying in bed at night right before they go to sleep, and then when they turn off the video, they're probably looking into each corner of the room to see if they see some kind of a weird shape being casted by some shadow.
Oh, the worst part is when you have like a coat hanging off the door.
Jesus.
And you wake up in the middle of the night and you look over and you're just like, wait, what is that? What is that? And then it's like your logic has to kick in, right? But then there's other times. I remember I had one encounter, again, in my haunted dormitories in college. But I remember one time, my dormitories used to be 2 buildings. And on my building, our washer and dryer were broken and stuff. So I decided...
Oh, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
You know which one I'm talking about. I decided to take my laundry over to the other building and use the laundry facilities there. And the way that building was laid out, it was an older style building, so the laundry facilities were towards the back of the building, right by the underside of the stairway. So as soon as you walk into the door, you'd have the underside of the stairway to the right of you. And then you have the laundry facilities in front of you. And I remember it was such a weird moment because I'm holding my basket or whatever. And my foot, I literally, and I remember this very vividly, I literally have my foot on the door frame of the entryway. And then I suddenly stopped. Like, there was no reason. I just stopped because I saw something out of the corner of my eye. And I didn't turn my head. I just kept looking from my peripheral and it would stay there. It wasn't something that just like was quick and was gone, right? Like tends to happen with your peripheral vision. It was just this black mass with glowing, like with these red, vibrant red eyes and just standing there from under the stairway. So it was to the right of me from under the stairway, and I was seeing it full on from my peripheral vision. Even when I would blink, shifted my eyes, it was still there. And I was immediately had this feeling of run, get out, do not go into that laundry room at all. And it just this immediate sense of fear. It wasn't like, you know, it was definite fear, but it was kind of like warning, like when you have that sense of danger and you want to you're trying to get away from it. And I just immediately, I didn't even think about it. I turned around.
You just get that feeling. It's like this. You shouldn't be here right now. Like
you shouldn't be here right now.
Something bad can happen here, or is gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. This is like your instincts telling you, danger, run. And I just listened to it. I just said, you know what? I don't need to do my laundry today.
Instincts are a crazy thing. You know, this story just reminded me of 2 things. Number 1 is the second encounter that I had, which was when I went over to a friend of my parents' house. We kind of left their home, went around the block because they lived in, it was a cul-de-sac, right? And there was another cul-de-sac a block over. And that house, I don't know what the reason was. I don't know if it had a bad history or not, but there was a house that was abandoned. And we went exploring like kids being stupid. And we went around the house to the backyard. When we were playing around, it was rubble. There was rubble and a lot of broken debris. I guess there was a lot of construction in the house. And in the bushes it was weird because it was like a wall of plants, right? But there was a cutout in the middle of it. And as we got closer, this story isn't as interesting, but as we got closer to that hole to see what was beyond the grass wall behind the house, I immediately just saw 2 red dots just materialize out of nowhere. And then we booked it out of there. That was the second experience. Now, I don't want to say that was a shadow person. It was more like I got the feeling of an animal or a creature. The other experience that I remember that I remember because of your story, it was that party story that you told me when you went over to a friend's house and you said that your friend wanted to do some kind of a seance. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh man, that one was from a while ago. Yeah, that was probably my first encounter with a shadow person. I didn't even know what the heck I was looking at, and I figured out later what I had seen. Funny enough, my brother was in the car with me. I was actually driving when I saw them, and what had happened was I had gone to a friend's house. We were having like a get together and things like that, and for whatever reason, he decided he wanted to do like this seance thing.
And you didn't slap him for that?
It wasn't Ouija board.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't Ouija board. We're gonna talk about the Ouija board at some time, guys, and you're gonna find out that I am avidly against the Ouija board.
Yeah, me too.
So he decided he wanted, and it's by seance I mean like he used like salt and some other stuff. It wasn't like a Ouija board or anything like that. And it was cool and whatever. We did the party thing, and then later on the night it was like probably like close to 3 a.m, and I'm leaving his complex, and there by his complex, because there were these like small area of trees, those small little patchy areas where there's a bunch of trees and some of them are dead and fallen over and things like that, and there was like a railing, like a highway railing, to prevent any cars from kind of accidentally driving in there, because at night it was very dark. There were no like street lamps or anything, and in my car headlights illuminate that area briefly as I'm making my turn, and I saw these figures, and coincidentally my brother actually saw them as well, because we both pointed them out, and we see these figures, and there were a bunch of them, and this is the first time I saw the hooded shadow person, and these hooded figures hunched over these different like dead trees and things like that, and a lot of them they looked like they were squatting, and we were just looking at them like, what? So
you had stopped the car at this point.
I stopped the car at that point because I was like intrigued. I'm like, what am I?
And you said that you were pointing at these shadowy figures with your headlights just beaming.
With my headlights, and they were just solid black masses, solid as a person. Like I honestly, at first, I thought it was like these people dressed up under these black blanket like hoods or whatever, messing around, but they didn't react when my headlights illuminated them or anything. They were just kind of doing their own thing. And I was actually quite fascinated. I kept staring at them, trying to figure out what they were, until I realized that whatever it was I was looking at was not a person.
And your brother saw this too?
My brother saw it as well. Yeah, and again, like,
he can attest to this.
It's not like I saw it out of my peripheral vision, right? I was like, I had my car headlights on them. It wasn't a reflection, because there's nothing to reflect off. There was just a bunch of dead trees.
It was almost like kind of like a black hole where it just absorbs the light. Like the light doesn't really beam onto the shadow.
If it were a person, they would catch light. You'd see the outline of the person, and this was very different. And so I got a little freaked out, so I just started driving. And I just decided to book it and drove off. But I had the sensation that I was still being stared at as I was leaving.
Do you think it could have been like energetic remnants of people who have died on that road or something? Because that's actually one of the theories. It could be that they are shadowy figures that appear right before a big tragedy is about to take place that takes lives of many people. I don't want to get into the like specifics about this subject because it's very sensitive, but some people report having seen these figures around the area before 9/11 happened. It's almost like almost like an omen. You know what I mean? It's like they're here to collect.
There's a lot in this world that we don't understand, so I guess it could be a possibility.
I don't think whether their intentions are positive or negative. I think they just naturally invoke that feeling of dread and fear simply based on our lack of understanding.
It's possible, yeah. I mean, imagine you're like in your house, which happened to you. You just trying to sleep, and all of a sudden you wake up and there's this black mass just staring at you like a creeper. What do? You wake up to that, and what do?
Well, if you're me, you walk past them because you need to go pee.
Excuse me, sir. I need to go to the bathroom. Can you like step aside?
Mind you, that could have been the very last thing I ever do if it really was a malevolent thing. And I wouldn't be here right now. So don't do what I do.
Well, do you think it could have been a dream? Maybe you were just...
No, because I was wide awake and I had to go to use the bathroom. No, I'm pretty sure that if it was a dream and I went to use the bathroom in my dream, I'm pretty sure I would have peed my bed, and I've never peed my bed.
So yeah, there's a lot of theories behind shadow people, and again, we've discussed our personal experiences with it and everything. So we really like to hear from you guys about your personal experiences with shadow people, if you've encountered any, or anything like that. So please let us know. Comment below. And but for the most part,
definitely follow us on Twitter. We're probably going to be putting up some polls, gauging some people's reaction, seeing if anyone has had interactions with these shadowy figures as well.
Yep. I think the best thing to do if you see one is just try to stay calm. Most of the time they're just like quick glimpses and they're gone. If you run into the case of,
that's it,
the scary ones that apparently like to creeper you out and stare at you, I don't understand why they like to stare at you
or run at you. Get the hell out of there.
What you're just staring at a person. Why? It's so...
Well, I mean, hey, that's what they do.
And that's what makes it difficult, right?
Ghost, what the hell are you gonna do?
Like, when you explain it to someone, and it's like, yeah, I saw this weird thing in my room the other day, and it was just staring at me.
What do you want? What do you want to do?
Well, at least it would validate something.
I'd rather them just stand there and not do shit the whole night, rather than take a book and slam it against my face. You know what I mean? I'd rather they just do that. You just stay in that corner.
I'm just gonna turn over now.
Bye.
And have fun enjoying staring at me.
And he just stays there like, yeah, you just stay there breathing, buddy.
They could try and draw you do something productive.
Well, I mean, they never did anything.
No, they just blocked your path.
So hopefully they haven't done anything to anyone.
Yeah.
Block my path? Oh yeah. You mean like,
yes,
keep me from going to the bathroom?
That was his intention. It wanted you to pee in the bed.
That would have been horrible.
Mortified. It'd be traumatic.
That would. I'm traumatized. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video. If you missed part 1 of our Shadow People episode, you can click the link on the screen to check it out.